Hi friends, welcome to Bowl of Light Yoga. I'm Danielle. This is a gentle practice for beginners or non-beginners just looking to get back to basics with a gentle practice. You don't need any props for this practice, but I always recommend to have a blanket, a couple blocks, books or cans will work just fine, and then a bolster or just a couple firm pillows. So to get started, just come to a comfortable cross-legged seat. You may find it more comfortable to prop yourself up on the edge of a blanket if your lower back is tight. So this is easy pose or Sukhasana. So when I first arrive in Sukhasana in my practice, I like to just kind of find some organic movement. Maybe doing some hip circles here, shifting the weight from side to side, front to back. Just really centering myself, arriving onto my mat. And when you're ready to find some stillness, you just want to stack your shoulders over your hips. So you may need to come back a little bit in space. You want a long spine with a neutral curve. Maybe tuck your chin just a bit to find some length in the back of your spine. From here, I like to check in with my neck. So you can gently lower your right ear to your right shoulder. And very, very slowly, maybe to a count of 4, lower your chin to your chest and around left ear to left shoulder. And again, going just as slowly back to the right. Try and sync that up with your breath. So this time, inhaling for a count of 4 as you rotate left ear to left shoulder, and exhaling on the way back for a count of 4. Do that one more time. When your right ear comes to the right shoulder again, just hold it there for a second, really allowing the stretch in the left side of your neck. With your left hand, you can begin to walk your fingertips out from your body, maybe even floating your fingers up off the floor. See how that feels in your neck. And you can set your left hand back down. And that slow count of 4, rolling left ear to left shoulder. And holding here for a few moments. Again, you can walk your fingertips out to the side if you'd like. And maybe float them off the floor. You can set your fingertips back down, roll chin to chest, and very gently lift your head. Go ahead and just make little fists with your hands and just roll out your wrists here, maybe in some figure 8s. And go the opposite way then. Stretch your hands out long, palms facing forward, fingers spread wide, and point your fingers down, stretching through the top of your arm here and the front of your hand. One more time, palms up and down. Nice. You can bring your hands down by your side, and as you inhale, sweep your arms up, palms reach above your head, and exhale, lower your hands back down to the side. Again, inhale, arms reach up and overhead. Palms touch, maybe your gaze lifts if that's comfortable on your neck. And exhale, arms coming back down to the side. And deep breath in, arms up. And deep breath out. Arms lower to the side. Bring your hands, palms touching at your heart center. Sternum presses to thumbs. Thumbs press to sternum. You may hear this cued in yoga. This is a great reminder to just roll your shoulders down your back and open your chest. If you're comfortable here, go ahead and just close down your eyes for a few moments. And begin to observe your breath. Notice the coolness of the air on the inhale and the warmth of the air on the exhale. Maybe you're continuing with that 4-count breath, or maybe you'd like to lengthen to a 5 or 6 count. Whatever count works best in your body, just try to make your inhales and exhales equal length. You may hear to use your breath as a barometer in yoga. What that means is if you find that you can't breathe deeply and freely in any posture, you've gone too far and you just need to back out a little bit. And take a few more deep breaths here. And when you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes to take in your mat and then the rest of the room. We're going to wake up the spine gently and slowly. So you can stay propped up on your blanket here if you are and you'd like to stay. I'm going to come off of my blanket. We're just going to do some gentle twists. So take your hands to your shoulders, fingers in front, thumbs in back. And on your inhale, you'll slowly and gently twist to the left. And as you exhale, you'll slowly and gently twist to your right. Inhale left, exhale right. This doesn't need to be a fast movement. We're just waking up the spine here. As your spine starts to warm up, you may find that you can go maybe a little faster, twist a little deeper. Just don't push anything. Don't force anything. Just do what feels good in your body. Keep your sits bones firm to the mat. Keep your lower body steady. We're really just twisting from torso here. We'll do 3 more at your own pace. And when you're finished, you can just return to center and your palms can come to your knees. Just take a moment to feel the effects of that in your body. Just see how that feels for you. Okay. Next, you can bring your palms to your shins here. And as you inhale, you'll pull your heart through your shoulders as your shoulders kind of glide down your back. And on the exhale, you'll round your upper back and your shoulders will come forward. So inhale, you're shining your heart forward. Exhale, your heart is shining out of your back body. Inhale forward, exhale back. Just a seated cat-cow movement here, if you're familiar with that. You want to be careful not to throw your chin back when you're coming forward. Just want to keep your chin somewhat pretty close to parallel to the floor. Just some gentle movements here. You can get into a rhythm with this. Close your eyes, turn your attention inward, and just continue. Remember, the pace doesn't need to be fast here. We're really just waking up the spine and the upper back and shoulders. And do 3 more at your own pace. And when you've finished, once again, just come to center, hands on your knees, and observe the effects of that in your body. All right. Next, go ahead and put your hands back on your shins there where they were, maybe out to your knees. We're just going to kind of circle the heart around. So as you inhale, you'll circle forward, and exhale, kind of round back. So again, on the inhale, your heart is shining forward, and on the exhale, your heart is shining through your back. We'll do 3 more in this direction. And when you're finished with that, you can reverse directions. And we'll do 3 more at your own pace. And when you're ready, come to stillness at center. Close your eyes and observe. Notice if sitting in Sukhasana feels any different now than it did at the beginning of practice. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. The practice is just noticing. Okay, so we'll go on to tabletop. So come on over to hands and knees. I like to pad my knees here. We are going to be here for a little bit. So if you have sensitive knees, you might want to pad your knees. So you want your knees stacked under your hips, wrists stacked under your shoulders. If this isn't comfortable for you, you can always put your hands on blocks to help give a little more space here. So your toes can either be curled under or the tops of your feet can be pressing firmly into the floor. You want to be sure you're pressing firmly into the floor with the tops of your feet. That takes some pressure off of your knees. So go ahead and experiment with that for a minute. Press firmly into the tops of your feet and then release. And just see how that's different in your knees. So your fingers are spread wide, pointed towards the front of your mat. Weight is distributed evenly between your hands and among all fingers. Thighs are firming towards each other. Your abs are up and in. You have a long, neutral spine. So when we say neutral spine, that's not flat. That's the natural curves of your spine. So for a moment here, let's just experiment and try and find that. So you can kind of just relax your abs for a moment and release your lower back. You can just find how you're sinking towards the floor here. And then to the other extreme, you can just kind of curl everything back and in. Your abs are super engaged and your back is kind of arched. So we don't want to be here and we don't want to be here. We want to be nice in the middle. So neutral spine, abs engaged. Remember that your neck is an extension of your spine. So you just want your head to be in line with your neck. So for here, your gaze is directly down at the floor. So from here, we're going to pull our heart through the front of our shoulders as the shoulder blades draw in towards the spine and slightly down. So this is cow. This is like our seated posture. You're going to open through the collarbones, stretch across the front of your chest. And again here, you want to keep your neck parallel with the ground. Throwing your neck up, looking up really high here, can cause some compression in the lumbar spine. And now we'll release the head, the crown of head and tailbone reach towards the earth. The back of your neck is long. Shoulder blades are widening apart as your thoracic spine rounds. Again, we'll inhale. Coming back to cow. This releases the muscles of the chest and the front of the shoulders. And exhale, rounding your back up for cat. This releases the muscles of the upper back and the back of the shoulders. So with your breath now, inhaling to cow. Exhale, round to cat. Again, inhale, cow, exhale, round to cat. Let's do that 3 more times. Inhale, rounding. Or inhale, heart pulls through for cow. Exhale, rounding for cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. Last one here. Inhaling to cow. And exhaling to cat. Okay. You may just want to take a moment to sit back on your heels here. Roll your wrists out again if your wrists are feeling a little sensitive or tender after that. We'll come back into tabletop position. You go ahead and stretch your right leg long out behind you, toes curled under, and really press through the back of your heel here for a nice calf stretch. So you want to make sure you're not dumping into the left side of your body here. Your abs are engaged, your hips are staying square to the floor, and your supporting leg is straight. You're not slumping over to the left. Good. Go ahead and bring your right knee in, and we'll switch sides. So left knee, left leg reaches out behind you, toes tuck, press through your heel. Again, keeping your weight evenly distributed, not sinking into the right leg. And you can bring that back in. Bring your knees and your toes together. Tuck your toes under so that the pads of all 10 toes are in contact with the mat. Begin to walk your hands back as you reach your hips towards your heels, sitting back towards your heels. Now this can be a very intense posture, so if this is enough for you, this is where you should stay. If you can continue to walk back without any pain, there should never be any pain in yoga. Sensation, yes. Pain, no. So if you can continue to walk back with no pain and this feels okay in your body, you can come to an upright position. This is a great posture to focus your awareness on your breath and the sensations in your body. Breathe deeply here to support this challenging posture. We spend so much time on our feet, so much time with our feet crammed into shoes, an unnatural restriction. So it's important that we allow our feet to open and release. Take just a few more breaths here. Part of yoga is learning to be comfortable in uncomfortable positions. Use your breath to calm the mind, to calm the body. Okay, we'll come out of this one the same way we came in, so just begin to walk yourself out of it very gently. When you got back to tabletop position here, you can untuck your toes and just gently flutter the tops of your feet on the floor here. Now we want to do a counter stretch for our ankles. So with the tops of your feet flat to the floor this time, again, start to walk your hands back towards your knees, sitting back onto your heels. This is enough of an ankle stretch. If this feels good in your body, this is great. If you feel like you want some more and you have the flexibility in your ankles, you can put your hands back behind you, fingers facing your body, and just slowly and gently begin to lift your knees up off the mat. Only going to the point where you feel sensation but no pain. And if your knees are up, you can lower them. And we'll come back up to tabletop position. From here, we're going to move into child's pose, Balasana. So you can either keep your knees together as they are now, or you can keep your big toes touching and lengthen, widen your knees out to the sides of your mat. The tops of your feet are going to stay flat on your mat. You're going to reach your hips back to sit on your heels. Now, if your hips don't reach your heels, you can always use a block or a bolster or a blanket for some support here. Your arms will reach out long in front of you, and your forehead is going to press into the earth. You could also make a pillow with your hands, or if your forehead doesn't reach to the earth, you can use a block or a pillow or a bolster here. Another option also is to get a bolster or a pillow. Put them lengthwise under your body so that your body can rest on your bolsters or pillows. So find whichever variation is right for your body. If you've decided to keep your knees together, you can bring your arms long to the sides of your body with your fingers back by your feet. I actually like to take my feet in my hands in this position. Child's pose is a foundational resting pose in yoga. This pose helps to soothe the nervous system and helps us to turn our awareness inwards. It's also great for releasing the glutes and hips. We'll take just a few more deep breaths here in your Balasana, child's pose. If at any point in a yoga practice your breath is telling you that you're doing too much, this is a great resting pose option. All right. And to walk your hands back in, bringing yourself back up to a tabletop position. Now we'll walk our hands out forward here. You can take them maybe wide to the corners of your mat. Your fingers can be facing forward or out to the sides of your mat. And just melt your heart towards the ground. Your knees, your hips are going to stay stacked over your knees. Your belly is going to reach towards your thighs. And again, your forehead will press firmly into the ground here. Keep the tops of your feet pressing firmly into the mat to take pressure off of your knees. This is Anhatasana, puppy pose, or melting heart pose. This is a great practice for downward facing dog. And take one more breath here. And then begin to walk your hand back in as you gently come back to tabletop. Spread your fingers wide, maybe just a bit out in front of your shoulders here. All of your fingers again pointing forwards or out to 45-degree angle to create some more space in your shoulders and your neck. I want you to really press down here through your knuckles, through the corners of your hand. And imagine creating a little bit of space between your palm and the mat. So pressing down through your knuckles, pressing down through your fingertips, lifting up through your palms. Tuck your toes under, keeping your knees deeply bent. Begin to lift your hips towards the sky, pressing your belly into your thighs, and find some length in your spine. So again, your knees are super, super bent here. Right now we're just focusing on upper body, lengthen the spine. So this should feel very similar to the puppy pose we just did. Just your knees are elevated off the floor. And now slowly begin to lower one heel to the floor as you straighten that leg. And then alternate lowering the other heel as you just walk your dog out. And when you're ready here, you can go ahead and just lower your knees, returning to tabletop position. We're going to do that again. So if that was painful on your wrists, you really want to make sure that you're lifting up and out of your wrists, that you're not dumping down into your wrists. You could also fold over your mat here and elevate the heels of your hands on your rolled up mat or on a blanket. You could use blocks, put your hands on blocks. That just gives you a little more space, brings the floor to you, so not so much as on your wrists. Or another option is to do dolphin pose. So it's downward facing dog on your forearms. So you'll lower your forearms so they're right underneath. You'll lower your forearms so that your elbows are right underneath your shoulders. And then you can just lift your hips up to the sky here. Fingers, hands will press firmly into the mat as you lift up and out of your arms. So there's several options for downward facing dog. Go ahead and take whichever option works best for you. In downward dog, you want to engage your quads here. Your kneecaps will lift a bit. Lift your abs up and in. Knit your ribs together. Your gaze is to your navel, elongating the back of your neck. This is another foundational yoga posture. It's sometimes called a resting pose. I'll let you be the judge of that. And when you're ready, you can lower your knees to the mat again and take whichever version of child's pose you would like, knees wide or together. Always remember to come back to your breath in yoga. So continue to work with that 4 count or 5 count breath. Whatever you decided at the beginning, continue to work with that breath. Push yourself back up to tabletop position. And we'll take the right leg and step it through your hands into a low lunge. So for your front leg, the toes are pointed forward with your heel centered behind the widest part of your foot. And your knee is directly over your ankle and it's tracking over the center line of your foot so it's not splayed out here. Your hips are square to the front of the mat. Your back foot is directly behind your knee, and your toes can either be tucked or the top of your foot pressing firmly into the mat, again, to relieve any pressure on your knee. You can use your blocks. I like to use my blocks here to help me find length in my low lunge as I begin to lift my upper body off of my front thigh. Just take a deep breath here. I like to find some movement in my shoulders and hips. And when you're ready, we'll straighten the front leg and shift your hips back over your back knee, pulling your toes up to face the ceiling, and then folding forward over your front leg here for half splits. So as you inhale, find some length in your spine. Exhale, fold a little deeper. Inhale. And exhale. Come on back forward to low lunge again. So abs engage. Find some length in your spine and along the sides of your body here. And there's a neutral, kind of natural curve to your back, so we're not trying to flatten the back or overly round it. Just a neutral, natural curve. And again, keep your neck in line with your spine. And shifting back again, half splits, folding forward over your front leg. You may find here that your hips have a tendency to want to fall over to the left, so just work to make sure your hips are staying square to the front of the mat. And coming forward to low lunge again. You can keep your hands on your blocks. You can put your hands on your top thigh here and help you get some length. Or you can lift your arms up into a V or goalpost or cactus arms. Or maybe even hands come behind your back and interlace, and you find just a little bit of a back bend. And you can bring your hands back to freeing your front foot. And maybe you want to try tucking your back toes under and lifting your back knee off the mat. You can plant your left hand firmly to maybe the outside of your mat as you raise your right arm up for an easy twist, opening your heart to the sky. Again, check in with your breath. Have you gone too far here? If so, just lower back to low lunge. And bring your right hand down to the floor. Back knee comes back to the floor, and your front right knee comes back for tabletop. Right, we'll do that on the other side. So this time, step your left foot forward into low lunge. Using your blocks to help find some length in your spine. Even if you're not up, even if your head is still pointing forward, you can find some length in your spine here, some length in the side of your body. Back toe is pressing, top of back foot is pressing firmly into the mat. And we'll come back, shifting your hips back. Front toes lift to the ceiling for half splits, folding over your front leg. Inhale, find length. Exhale, fold. Bending your front knee again for low lunge. Maybe this time you can find a little more length, a little more height in your spine. Yoga looks different in every body and in every day. So don't ever try to force your body to look how a pose looks in someone else's body or how it looked in your body yesterday or last week. We're all unique from each other, and we're all unique every day of our life. So honor your body. Be gentle with your body. Go ahead and shift on back again to half splits. This is your yoga journey, your experience. It should only be yours. And we'll come on back forward here for another low lunge. Choosing your arm variation this time. Low lunge is such a great posture because it really gets into our psoas muscle. Our psoas muscle is the prime mover of hip flexion. So we spend a lot of time in hip flexion, walking, sitting, and so we want to counter that in our yoga practice whenever we have the chance. All right. Right hand will come to the outside of your mat. Tuck your back toes under. Triangle runner's lunge on this side. Maybe opening up to the sky for an easy twist. Only if you can breathe deeply and freely here. And we'll return our hands to the ground, back knee to the ground. And you can bring your left knee back into tabletop position again. And we'll just come to a seated position. You can decide if you'd like to be propped up on your blanket or not. So we're coming into Baddha Konasana here. So the soles of your feet are going to touch and actively stay pressing towards each other as your knees gently fall open to the sides. If there's space between the floor and your knees, you can fill it with blocks or bolsters or pillows. So root down through your sits bones here. Find some length in your spine. As you inhale, find some length. And as you exhale, begin to fold forward over your legs, keeping your spine long and your sits bones rooted to the ground. When you're ready, you can round your spine and just rest here. You can use a block to prop your head up, or your fists. Baddha Konasana is a great pose for quieting the mind, for bringing your awareness inward. It also releases the inner thighs and the low back. If you're not breathing deeply here, come back to your breath. Checking in with your body. Take one more full breath here. And you can slowly begin to walk your way back up. And we'll turn to lie down on our back. So, soles of feet on the floor. Just kind of round and gently lower yourself down. So we're going to take reclined pigeon, so you can bring your right ankle across your left knee and pull your knee into your chest, and then thread your hands through and hold on to the back of your left thigh. Keep energy in both of your feet, keeping your feet flexed, and begin to pull your thighs into your chest. If you notice that your right knee wants to collapse in, you can use your elbow to help kind of prop it up on your thigh here. Keep your tailbone reaching long. Lengthen your neck. Your chin is slightly tucked. Shoulders are relaxed. And you can gently release that. And we'll switch sides. So right sole of foot to the floor, left sole of foot comes across. Pull your right leg in. Flex both of your feet. Thread through your right leg here, holding onto the back of your right leg. And pull your thighs into your chest. And you can gently lower your feet and then just stretch your legs out long on the mat for Shavasana. So your legs will stretch out long, feet will fall open to the sides. And releasing control of your breath, releasing control of your muscles. Arms can either come wide to the sides of your body, palms facing up, or you can have one hand to your heart, one hand to your belly. Relax your shoulders. Slightly tuck your chin to find some length in your spine. And fully surrender. Shavasana is the most important part of a yoga practice. It allows us to integrate our practice physically and energetically. For many of us, it's the only time in our day where we are actually quiet and still. So try your best not to skip Shavasana. I encourage you to stay in Shavasana for as long as you can. When you're ready, invite some movement back into your fingers and toes. Maybe stretch out long on your mat. And then gently roll to one side, making a pillow for your head. And take a couple breaths here. And then gently push yourself up to a seated position. Returning to Sukhasana, where we began our practice. And once again, just notice, is anything different at the end of the practice than it was at the beginning? Thank you so much for practicing with me today.